fantasy fans are always getting screwed over because lazy writers don't want to learn the source material, actors don't really care about learning their book or video game counterparts, and the Wheel of Time was butchered, Game of Thrones ending was butchered, and of course, The Witcher is now dead. Nobody is happy with the decisions that they've made. I don't see how they could save it going into the final season, and the scores are absolutely atrocious. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, I understand that fantasy TV shows usually have a very high budget because a lot of CGI, but at the same time, they could be making major money makers. Look at Game of Thrones and how popular that was. That could have gone down as one of the most successful TV shows of all time if they had actually really focused on what made those first few seasons, and of course the books very special, why people loved them so much, and if they actually had hired fans and passionate, talented writers, they could have ended that show on a banger. It could have had the best scores of a TV show consistently. It could have made them more money, and while they've done spin-offs since, unfortunately, Game of Thrones is definitely not as successful as it could have been because of those terrible final seasons, and The Witcher had started off extremely positively. While, yes, it wasn't the most accurate to the source material, it still was pretty good. It was still pretty entertaining, pretty good quality, really high quality costumes, good acting. For the most part, there were a couple of major fumbles in my opinion. Those could have been corrected though. And while, yeah, we made fun of like the ball sack armor, they did improve upon things like that in season 2, and then of course it crashed and burned story-wise, and then by season 3 everything was terrible, but season 4 is atrocious, and there is a reason why right now it has some of the lowest user scores I have ever seen, sitting at a 1.7 user, and even the critics didn't like it at a 59. It is so sad to see all of the potential they had here. The Witcher had so much going for it, and if they had followed the books or even just done a direct adaptation of the games, which were still pretty different, either of those directions could have made them a boatload of money. And instead they decided, you know what, we're gonna turn this into the feminist series, we're gonna make everyone gay, we're gonna race swap everybody, we're gonna move away from the source material, and we're gonna fuck this up, and now they're getting raked across the coals for it. I mean, a 1.7 is absolutely atrocious over on Metacritic, and looking at Rotten Tomatoes, the top critic's a 33, and the all critics a bit more generous at a 62, still bad, but the all audience with over 1,000 ratings is at a 21%. It has gone up by 2% since release a couple of days ago, but yeah, 1.6 out of 5 is definitely not good, and even Blood Origin has bad scores, the Rats spinoff now has bad scores. There's no saving The Witcher at this point. So taking a look over on Metacritic, people are saying it is absolute gutter trash. It completely ignores the source material. It's terrible. This one gives it a 10, so they're trying to reverse review bomb it, and they say Liam is good and a very interesting Regis, and I will give Lawrence Fishburne the credit where credit is due, because I don't always think that race swaps are the end of the world. I think that if an actor is very talented and passionate, they can typically embody a character pretty well, whereas gender swaps never work because you have to change the essence of a character, and I think he's a good actor, and I think that he did a pretty good job. Sure, is he the same Regis as in the video games? Not necessarily, but I think that, you know, if they actually had all these other good characters and storylines, maybe it could have gone somewhere in the final season, and it didn't matter who was replacing Henry Cavill. They could have gotten an absolutely god-tier actor. People would have still been upset. He looks like he's cosplaying Geralt. He doesn't look as good as Henry Cavill. He is, of course, not as passionate as Henry Cavill, and he really is just the Temu version of Cavill's Geralt, which is abysmal. They turned Geralt into a secondary character, disregarded the books, made Yennefer the main character, the girl boss, who is even a swordsman now. This season is terrible. It is just very disappointing. This is not The Witcher. Geralt motorbike in a wig, which is just such a funny descriptor because it's so freaking true. I mean, the wig is low quality. His outfit is supposed to be similar to Cavill's, but it's still not great. And of course, over on Rotten Tomatoes, people are not being generous either. People are absolutely wrecking them. Plot holes, weird pacing, and then they axed Vesemir. At this point, I would trust the monsters more than the writers, and the Vesemir decision here was just the worst out of all of it, truly, in my opinion, because he is alive in the books, and he does die in the games, but in The Witcher 3, when he dies, Ciri is there, Yennefer isn't there, Geralt isn't there, and it's such an emotionally impactful moment for Ciri, and it really is a catalyst for the rest of her adventure. And in the show, when Yennefer tells Geralt, oh, by the way, Vesemir said, we don't even get a frown, we don't get heartbreak, we don't get sorrow, we don't get emotion. And I'm so fucking sick of this narrative being pushed that, oh, Witchers don't have emotion. That is a misconception, and it is not true. Witchers do have emotion. Sure, they don't quite feel in the same way that, like, a normal human being would, but at the same time, we still should have gotten something there. This was so bad. They have disavowed everything the story stood for. Geralt getting emotional and acting like an out of control loser. The writing is so bad. It's like an A-level drama production. Episode 1, the dialogue's awful. I also hated how they explain the recast, which is basically to just take important scenes from the other seasons and then just CGIing Liam Hemsworth's face onto Henry Cavill's body or version of Geralt. It's just terrible all around. Liam Hemsworth makes for an anemic casting of The Witcher, as awkward to watch as Steve Rogers before the super serum. Whether suffering from a shoestring budget or poor directing, season 4 lacks the gloomy atmosphere and intense world building found in the previous seasons. Wigs and costumes look like they're from Spirit Halloween and are far too clean. Since season 2, it has become one of the worst fantasy shows out there, a sheer mockery of the source material. Can't recommend to anyone. The portrayal of Geralt by Liam Hemsworth is not even close to the character and ruined it for any remaining seasons for me. 4 minutes in, and Liam Hemsworth was the new Witcher for me. And hey, if there are a couple people out there who liked it, I'm glad, but most people absolutely hate it, and I can't say I'm surprised to see why. We knew that it was probably going to be pretty bad, judging by some of the decisions that they made with the recasts and the set designs and really moving away from the source material. And yeah, I mean, it's really no shocker to see people are saying they're struggling to get through season 4. Henry Cavill made it a bit watchable for 3 seasons, but recasting him was a poor decision. The Witcher is a complete and utter disaster, releasing to an abysmal 19%. How do you say I'm not the least bit surprised in Polish? This is why you can't trust the mainstream media. Season 4 is a flop. Hemsworth didn't silence anything. Look at those reviews. Witcher is nothing more than woke fan fiction wearing the skins of beloved characters to push an agenda. So we'll see if any of the cast comes out and makes any statements, or if Lauren Hisrich tries to damage control. But right now, season 4 is a complete and utter disaster, and I don't think anybody is surprised by that. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this important and informative, make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I'll talk to you all again in the next video really soon.